So you want to learn how you can borrow money at 0% interest, get the money paid to you instantly without any credit check or credit history. Sounds too good to be true? Well, it isn't, and I'm gonna show you how. Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. In my recent community post, I asked you if you would be interested in borrowing money at 0% interest, and the clear majority of you said yes. Especially in times of inflation of 10-12%, getting money for free actually makes it even cheaper because the money you pay back is worth less in a year from now. So there's a lot of incentive to take a loan at the moment. But it can be quite difficult for a lot of people, especially if you don't have much money in the bank account. But before we dive in, let me quickly tell you why I started getting interested into borrowing. Now, as you might know, I'm obsessed with investing my savings and my income into investments. So as soon as I get my salary, I make sure I can maximize the amount I can invest into stocks, ETFs, and cryptocurrencies. But then I started speaking with my friends and they said, wow, this is all great that you invest, but what you gonna do with the money? It's all locked up. And I'm a long-term investor who buys and holds, and you can't exactly buy a car with your stocks or ETF, right? Nobody is gonna give you a house for your stocks. So at some stage I was actually asking myself, yeah, I mean, it's nice to see that number going up and you get passive income from it. But in reality, at what stage are you going to sell? If Bitcoin hits 100,000, a million, and I started asking myself, yes, Kai, why do you invest all that money if it's just a number on the bank account or in your stock or brokerage account? And then I started reading up on it and I noticed that most rich people, a lot of their wealth is tied up in investments. Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, actually has very little cash in his bank account. The majority of his wealth comes from his shares in Tesla. You can't use these shares to buy a house or villa. You actually would have to sell them and liquidate them. But as he grows Tesla in the future, those shares become more valuable, so there's no incentive for him to sell it. And that's why rich people, they borrow against their investments. And that's amazing. If you can borrow against your investments, you don't have to sell it and you just pay back the amount that you borrowed against it. And in the US, it's often easier. You can borrow against your stocks or against your house and real estate. You can basically take a loan as a fraction of the value of your house. But in Europe or other parts of the world, that's very difficult, especially against stocks or real estate, as a lot of young people are actually paying their mortgage off, so you can't really borrow against it. So I, for example, am saving money at the moment for a mortgage to buy a house in the near future. So every month I have this inner struggle where I have to put some of my income to put aside in a separate bank account to accumulate to have enough for that mortgage. And I see that number growing, and at the same time I see low Bitcoin prices or ETF prices, what I rather want to buy right now before it goes up in the future. So having this opportunity to borrow against my investments, that allows me to take this money, invest it, and then just borrow against it when I need it at 0% interest. Yes, you heard me right. And I can use that money as a mortgage down payment. And that's amazing, and that's what most rich people do, because also you have the tax advantage. You don't have to sell your stocks or crypto and pay capital gains tax on it. Instead, you borrow against it and you just repay your mortgage. And that's just a little background story why borrowing can actually be a very smart financial decision. And I always stayed away from borrowing because I didn't want to spend money that I don't own. Now I look at it from a different perspective. I think that's the way forward in order to sustain your investments and still keep living off it. Right, now I know you want to know the solution to how you can do the same. So let me show you. Basically, once again, it's about cryptocurrency, and that's just why I love the cryptocurrency space so much. It is possible with stocks, as I said, in certain parts of the world, and you need a certain special bank account and relationship. But with cryptocurrency, anyone can do it, and it's just so much simpler, easier, faster, and seamless. So the exchange and app I use for this is Nexo, which is quickly becoming my favorite crypto exchange. It's a platform that allows you to buy, sell, and hold cryptocurrency at some of the lowest fees, and it has a lot of other advantages, such as a crypto card, etc. But one of their main flagship feature is the borrowing feature, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Right, so the website is nexo.io. Obviously you have to register and go through your usual KYC process, and if you sign up, please use the link in the description below, and both you and I will get $25 worth of Bitcoin, which is fantastic, isn't it? So once you registered and signed up, you log in and you're basically going to be greeted by this dashboard, and you have some money in there. It's very simple how we're going to borrow the money. Basically, of course, you need some holdings, some security against it, and that security is in the form of cryptocurrency. And the highest leverage you will achieve by using Bitcoin, because this is the least volatile of all the cryptocurrencies out there. So once you start buying Bitcoin, you're gonna get a credit line. And a credit line, if you hover over here, you can basically see how much you can borrow immediately against your crypto holdings. So the crypto holdings is basically the guarantee for the exchange, in this case Nexo, that you're gonna be repaying your money, because it's a fraction. Let's say you have 10,000 in Bitcoin, you can only borrow a fraction. Talking about borrowing things, recently I wanted to borrow some bread from my Indian neighbor, but he said he had none. That's a good one. Mostly between 20 and 50% of the holding. So even if the price drops, they're gonna have still the security. So in case you fail to pay back your loan, they can basically liquidate or sell your cryptocurrency and they will have the amount back. So they safeguarding themselves. It's not that you borrow one-to-one. I really like that they're hedging their risk and this way they're more sustainable to continue doing this in the future. So at the moment, having $6,000 worth of crypto holdings, I can borrow almost 50% of that immediately. So, and I'll show you in a second how that works. Now, before we go into this, it's very important to understand the loyalty levels, because if you click on here, with the loyalty levels come different benefits in terms of staking rewards and other things, but also in terms of borrowing costs. So if you go into here, that's basically how you see the different loyalty levels, and that really depends on how much Nexo token you own in your portfolio. As you can see, I own 18%, so that's more than the minimum for the highest level, which is 10%, which would qualify you for the platinum. And I always recommend try to go for platinum because the benefits are really quite big. As you can see here in terms of benefits for staking, so I'll be getting 6% even on my euros that are stored there. I mean, that's incredible. Plus on my cryptocurrencies 5%. And here is the interesting part. So that's the borrowing benefit. So if I want to borrow money from them, there is a high LTV and low LTV. LTV means loan to value. So the lower it is, let's say 20% would be considered a low LTV, and they have less risk because you borrow less against the money you have in your account. So going back to the example of $10,000, if I borrow a low LTV, let's say 20%, for them it's less risky than if I would have a high LTV, loan to value, let's say 50%. So I borrow 5,000 versus 10,000. So if it drops by 50%, there's less security. The lower the LTV is, the lower the interest will be paid as well. And here comes the interesting part, which I haven't seen any other platform doing, offering a 0% interest. If you are a platinum member and have a low LTV, you can get 0% for up to 1 year. And that's just unbelievable. And I don't know any other institution that gives you basically free money. In fact, as I said, with inflation in place, if I pay back the $1,000 I borrowed today, in 1 year, it's gonna be worth less. So basically, I'm paying back less than I got right now today. And that's just amazing. So let's go back over here, and then very simple, you can see it over here, borrow from just 0% APR. So you click on this, and here you can see how much you can basically borrow. So I can have two options. Either I'm going to use a high LTV, so that will be slightly more expensive, still only 6.9%, which honestly for a short-term loan is really not so bad. I don't have any credit history or credit check, which normally you have to go through a long process at the bank. So getting money for anyone basically at 6.9 is still amazing. But if I want it at 0%, which yes, I want 0% interest, it will be slightly less. So that's around 20% low LTV of my holdings. And I'm totally fine with it. So how are you gonna get the money paid out? So you can get it in a stable coin, in Tether, USDT, or in USDC, which is another stable coin because some people prefer it. But I prefer actually a bank transfer. So I'm gonna get it paid in euros immediately to my bank account. You can choose basically any currency, or pretty much most of the currency, US dollars, British pound, whatever you want. And that's what we're gonna go for today. A few points to consider. There is a minimum transfer of $500 if you wanted to have it in fiat currency, so dollar or euro, and a $50 minimum if you wanted a stable coin transfer. So for the stable coin transfer, the coins are immediately in your Nexo account next day, and that's incredible. So for the local transfer in fiat currency, that usually comes the next day. If you withdraw in USD, it can take 2 to 5 days, so slightly longer if it's a non-US account. But again, overall, the maximum I heard is up to 3 days, but in most cases is next day in your bank account, which is really amazing, saving so much paperwork and time that you would normally go through in a normal traditional bank. Some notes on the credit line: the maturity is up to 1 year. So the free loan basically is up to 1 year. Within 1 year, you would have to repay that. There are ways to extend, and as it says, it can be renewed upon request. But usually it's up to 1 year, and the period starts as soon as you get the money in your bank account. So that's the day one of when it starts counting. Of course, the rates we spoke about is 0% only if you're a platinum member. So for the credit line repayments, you don't have to repay every single month a certain amount. You can wait 364 days and repay everything on the last day. So that's also nice in terms of cash flow, or you made a big investment and then you want to save up every single month. You can all pay a portion of your salary every single month back, or you wait until the end of the period and then pay it all in one go. So that's really nice as well. And the good thing here is you can use also your crypto in case you don't have any income coming in or what have you, or crypto really blows up and goes extremely high. You can liquidate or sell some of the crypto holdings and then with that money pay for your outstanding credit. So very easy way you can all transfer transfer fiat money or use some of your crypto holdings to liquidate and then pay back the loan. So that's really up to you. One thing to note though, you cannot repay your loan in less than 30 days. Well, you can technically, but you're going to be charged a small fee of interest. So it's advisable to wait at least 30 days after getting your money before you're going to start your payback. Other than that, yeah, I mean, it sounds all good to me. Let's go ahead and take a loan for free. So I'm going to click here on bank transfer. And I'm going to select the amount where I pay 0% interest. And then you have the amount over here. So that's the maximum amount I can borrow at 0% interest. So I'm going to choose my currency. That's the currency I'm going to be using, obviously euro. And then I'm going to choose my bank country over here where my bank is located. And that's in beautiful Lithuania. And if you know what is the capital of Lithuania, let me know in the comments. I'll be interested if anyone actually knows that. Then you're going to click here on transfer type. So for me, it's individual local. As you saw before, local goes faster, but if you're internationally, you can of course have individual SWIFT. So then, you can basically send it to most countries in the world. So then you're going to put your recipient name and of course the IBAN number, which is your account number. That's very important to put it over here. And then you will see the fee breakdown, which basically there isn't any fee. So free money, we love it. As I said, I get it in euros, so they will just convert it. And that's really a very good conversion rate over here. And then you're going to get the loan at 0% APR. Yes, we want this. In case Bitcoin start dropping massively, and then of course my interest will start kicking in, I would just buy a bit more Bitcoin to bring that portion up again, and I would stay at 0%. So you want to make sure that your LTV is maintained at 20% or less. If it gets high, you might start getting interest, but they will inform you of course. And then in this case, you could just rebuy Bitcoin and add up to your holdings. So then you're going to stay less than 20% and not get any interest payment. Then all that's left to do is click on agreeing to the terms and conditions. And from here, you click on withdraw. You're going to put your two-factor authentication and boom, I have successfully borrowed $1,164. As it says here, funds are usually received in the same day or next day. I will tomorrow have it in my Revolut account, which I use for that because that's the fastest way to get your funds. I love Revolut in general, so having it in my Revolut, now I can do whatever. Imagine there was a bigger amount and I have several $1,000s. I could use that money, send to my bank and get a mortgage in return or buy a car or whatever. And then every single month basically take a portion of my salary or income and then start repaying the Nexo loan basically that's outstanding. And by doing so, I didn't have to liquidate any of my investments, and actually I benefited by buying earlier at a lower price and not having to sell, pay tax on it. If I go back to my dashboard, you can see now my available credit is already reduced because obviously I started borrowing against it. Now, if I wanted to repay, you just go over here on repaying. Now it says I don't have any outstanding loan because as I told you, it only becomes effective once they made the transfer. So from tomorrow, once I actually receive the money, it will be shown over here and then I can start repaying. But as I also said, please only do it after 30 days. And I can also go into my wallet, into my Bitcoin wallet, which is the little button over here, manage wallets. I'm going to click on this and I can see the two different wallets. I have the saving wallet and the credit line wallet. So the portion of money that you take out of your Bitcoin holdings or keep as collateral for Nexo, this won't accrue any interest, but the balance that you still have left, you will still get interest on that, of course. Now, in my particular case, actually what I'm gonna do, the price of Bitcoin is still very attractive. So guess what? I'm actually gonna be buying more Bitcoin with my loan. So that's an interesting way. I just wanna secure a low price because I know in the coming weeks, month or years ahead, it's only gonna go up. So I'm actually gonna securing a bit more Bitcoin because once I build up even more reserve, once the day comes where I'm gonna take a mortgage or buy a car, what have you, I'm gonna have a big amount sitting there that I can borrow against a significant amount. Imagine you have 100,000 in Bitcoin, you can borrow up to 20,000 just like that and have it in your bank account, and you can do whatever you have to do with it. That's much better than just putting it in the bank account, letting it accumulate over there, and actually there isn't any accumulation happening because it loses money to inflation. You're probably gonna have to pay bank fees in order to keep your money there. So for me, there's really no point in doing that. And having Bitcoin, I can still get passive income from staking. Guys, I mean, that's a no-brainer. I love this idea. I'm gonna do this more and more in the future. And if this sounds interesting and you want to sign up, then please use the link in the description below to get $25 worth of Bitcoin to get you started. If you like Nexo and want to learn more about it, then check out the video over here where I'm going to run you through the entire platform and what it offers and all its features. Guys, if you made it until the end of the video, I really appreciate you. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps out the channel a lot. Stay healthy, get wealthy, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao!